Happy New Month! And welcome to December. The holiday season is here, a time for family, warmth, and celebration. But for some, this month begins with a knock. One that can change everything. Christmas is supposed to feel safe, predictable, peaceful. Yet every holiday season, thousands of Americans hear a knock like this, and everything changes. Police at your door. No warrant. No explanation. Just a check, a call, a concern. And in that moment, most gun owners have no idea what they're legally allowed to do. What almost no one knows is that the Supreme Court has already drawn a hidden line, a constitutional boundary police are not allowed to cross. Even during the holidays, even on Christmas night. Tonight, I'm going to show you exactly where that line is, why almost every gun owner overlooks it, and why it matters more than ever as we enter December 2025. Because one unexpected knock, one wrong choice, can turn a peaceful holiday into a legal nightmare. Before we continue, make sure you're subscribed. Asterisk like this video, share it with your friends and family, and stay protected, because what you're about to learn could safeguard your home and your loved ones this holiday season. Chapter 1. The Holiday Knock. It begins quietly. The kind of quiet that makes a living room feel cozy, safe, almost perfect. A Christmas tree glows softly in the corner, its lights flickering gently. Ornaments glint, casting tiny reflections across the walls. A mug of cocoa steams gently on the counter, its warmth filling the kitchen with the smell of chocolate and cinnamon. Outside, snow drifts softly against the windows, muffling the sounds of the street, adding to the serenity of the moment. And then, a knock. One knock. Hard. Deliberate. Unexpected. You freeze. Your family freezes. Even the dog perks up, ears tense. The warmth of the holiday suddenly feels fragile, threatened. A wave of instinctive fear washes over you. Who could it be? A neighbor? A delivery gone wrong? But something about the knock doesn't feel ordinary. You step toward the door, heart racing. Your hand shakes slightly as you approach. Through the frosted glass, you see the uniform, unmistakable. A police officer. Not just any officer, but one of many that will be knocking on doors this month. And in most cases, they are armed with authority that may feel absolute. Yet, legally, they have no warrant, no immediate emergency, and no legal authority to enter your home, unless very specific rules are followed. And yet, most Americans don't even know that the Supreme Court has already drawn a line that could protect your home if you know it. Every year, during the holiday season, police calls spike. Domestic disputes flare, noise complaints rise, wellness checks increase. And sometimes, it's as simple as an anonymous concern about a gun owner. Law-abiding citizens, families celebrating the holidays, suddenly find themselves confronting the legal system in the most intimate place possible. Their own home. Imagine it, the lights of your Christmas tree reflecting on the polished floors, the scent of pine and baked goods in the air, laughter just moments ago, all frozen as the knock comes again. Each second stretches. Your mind races. Do you open the door? Do you speak? Do you risk angering the officer? Or worse, assume they are overstepping and face potential consequences? This is the moment where knowing the law isn't optional. It's essential. Because one misstep, one misunderstanding, could turn a peaceful holiday into a situation you never imagined. And it's not just theory. Every December, countless families experience this tension firsthand. The combination of festive vulnerability and sudden authority creates a pressure cooker scenario, where instincts, fear, and legality collide. It is in these moments that the Supreme Court's hidden rule becomes not just important, but potentially life-saving. Chapter 2. The Legal Foundation. Caniglia versus Strom and Your Rights. Now that the knock has shattered the calm of your living room, it's time to understand the law, the invisible shield that most Americans never even knew existed. At the center of this shield is a Supreme Court case decided just a few years ago, Caniglia versus Strom. On the surface, it might sound like just another court ruling, dry and distant, buried in legal language. But the truth is, it is one of the most important decisions for anyone who owns a home, carries a firearm, or simply values the privacy of their own space. Here's what the court decided. Police officers cannot use something called community caretaking as an excuse to enter your home without a warrant. Period. No exceptions for vague concerns, polite requests, or anonymous calls. Your home, the one place you should feel completely safe, is protected by the Fourth Amendment, the very clause in the Constitution that guards against unlawful searches and seizures. And yet, almost no one knows this. Most homeowners, most gun owners, assume that a polite officer at the door automatically has authority. They do not. The Supreme Court in Caniglia v. Strom made it crystal clear. A police officer cannot just walk into your home to check on you, even if they claim they are worried about your safety or the safety of others. That line, the invisible boundary between legal authority and overreach, exists to protect you, your family, and your property. Now, you might be thinking, what about emergencies? What about someone calling 911? The court acknowledged those scenarios. Exigent circumstances, where life is in immediate danger, or a crime is actively occurring, are exceptions. But the critical point is this: vague concerns, neighborhood tips, wellness checks without a warrant. None of these justify entry. This is where things get complicated, and where most people stumble. Because while the law is clear on paper, the reality on the ground can feel uncertain, even threatening. Let's imagine a scenario. A family is decorating their Christmas tree. Lights twinkle. Cookies are cooling on the counter. Then, an officer knocks. They claim they are just checking because someone reported a firearm in the home. The family, unaware of Caniglia v. Strom, panics. They open the door, comply with questions, and suddenly, they're caught in a legal gray area that could have been entirely avoided. Knowing this rule doesn't just give you information, it gives you leverage. It gives you power in the moment when most people feel powerless. And here's another subtle truth. The Supreme Court ruling didn't just set a line for gun owners. It set a precedent for every American, every homeowner, every family in the country. Your rights are not suspended just because it's December, because it's a holiday, because the snow is falling, or because you have a gun in the house. The law protects you. The challenge is knowing that protection exists before it matters. As we go deeper into the scenarios and rules, you'll see why this knowledge could prevent a misunderstanding from turning into a disaster. Because every knock, every question, every decision at your front door is governed by this hidden Supreme Court line, and almost no one is aware of it. Chapter 3. What police cannot do. So now, the door stands between you and the unknown. The knock echoes in your ears. And the question arises, what exactly can a police officer do, and what can they not do, in your own home? Here's the truth, and it's more powerful than most Americans realize. Police cannot enter your home without a warrant, unless there is a true emergency. A warrant isn't just a piece of paper. It's your legal shield. Without it, an officer crossing that threshold is violating your Fourth Amendment rights. And yet, so many people assume that saying, "Yes, officer," automatically keeps them safe. It doesn't. Not without knowing the law. They cannot walk in just because a neighbor reported a gun, a relative is worried, or someone called anonymously. They cannot search your belongings, question you about your firearms, or seize anything without proper legal authority. And importantly, they cannot use vague community caretaking or wellness check excuses to justify entry. Imagine the scenario. It's Christmas Eve. You're enjoying time with your family. Someone in the neighborhood calls the police, worried about a firearm in the home. An officer knocks. They claim they are just checking in. The door is closed. The officer insists. What do? Most people don't know they have the right to refuse entry, and that refusal is protected by the highest court in the land. Even more startling, police officers sometimes overstep, not maliciously, but out of misunderstanding or protocol. They might assert authority, suggest compliance is mandatory, or create a sense of pressure. This is where knowing your rights transforms fear into clarity. Police also cannot threaten you, intimidate you, or manipulate you into letting them enter. Any form of coercion to bypass your legal protections is a violation. Remember, your home is your sanctuary, not a free access zone for authority figures, no matter how urgent they make it feel. Think about this. During the holidays, when tempers flare, stress is high, and homes are full of family and guests, one knock can escalate faster than anyone expects. Knowing exactly what the law allows, and forbids, is not just knowledge. It's protection. Let's step into another scenario. The knock comes again. You glance through the window. Another officer joins the first. They begin to ask questions, politely. but persistently. You remember the Supreme Court's line. You calmly respond, "I understand your concern, officer, but without a warrant, I cannot let you in." Notice what happens. That calm knowledge instantly shifts the interaction. Instead of uncertainty and fear, you now have a legal boundary. You are informed. You are empowered. This is the moment most people miss. And it is precisely why the Supreme Court's hidden rule is so critical, especially during December, when holiday distractions make people forget what protects them. Even in states with strict firearms regulations, this Supreme Court precedent remains a universal shield. No matter what the claim, no matter what the season, your Fourth Amendment rights are not suspended. And for families this holiday season, that line could mean the difference between a peaceful celebration and a legal confrontation. Chapter 4. Exceptions police can use. Of course, the law is not absolute. There are exceptions. But these exceptions are narrow, precise, and often misunderstood. Knowing them can mean the difference between safely protecting your home and unintentionally giving away your rights. Police can enter without a warrant only under very specific circumstances. One of the most well-known is exigent circumstances. Situations where there is an immediate threat to life, health, or safety. For example, if someone inside is screaming for help, if a violent crime is in progress, or if there's a fire or other urgent danger, officers can legally enter. But here's the catch. Most officers, and even most homeowners, blur the lines between what constitutes an emergency and what does not. And that confusion is exactly what puts you at risk. Another exception comes from state-specific red flag laws. Some states allow temporary removal of firearms if a court determines someone poses a danger to themselves or others. In these cases, law enforcement may have authority to act. But even then, there is a legal process that must be followed, and any deviation from that process can make an entry illegal. Think about a family celebrating on December 24th. The home is bustling with relatives, presents under the tree, children laughing, music playing softly. A neighbor calls the police out of concern for a firearm. The officer arrives, citing a potential emergency. Most people would assume they must comply. But here's the secret most Americans don't know. Unless there is a clear, immediate threat, the officer's claim alone does not give them the right to enter. That's where the Supreme Court line from Caniglia versus Strom becomes your invisible shield. And yet, in practice, these exceptions are often misapplied. Wellness checks, mental health checks, or vague safety concerns are frequently cited by officers as justification. Families are pressured, sometimes politely, sometimes aggressively, to allow entry. The line between what is legal and what is overreach becomes blurry, unless you know your rights. Imagine this scenario. A police officer knocks, insists they're responding to a call, and asks to come inside. You know there is no immediate threat. You remember the law. You calmly say, "I cannot allow entry without a warrant or exigent circumstances." The officer pauses, uncertain. That pause, that hesitation can prevent escalation. It can protect your home, your rights, and your family's holiday. These exceptions exist for a reason. They are meant to protect life and safety. But they are not free passes. They are carefully circumscribed rules. And when officers or homeowners misunderstand them, confusion and conflict follow. The key takeaway here is simple. Know the exceptions, but do not assume them. Clarity and knowledge are your most powerful tools when the unexpected knock comes this December. Even in the busiest holiday season, when calls spike and tensions rise, the Supreme Court line is still your anchor. Knowing what qualifies as an emergency, and what does not, allows you to respond calmly and confidently, without fear, without panic, and without surrendering your constitutional rights. Chapter 5. Why it matters this holiday season. Now, let's bring this home, literally. December is not like any other month. The holidays bring joy, celebration, and togetherness. But they also bring a spike in police calls, emergency responses, and neighborhood concerns. Homes are fuller. Families are busier. Stress levels rise. And when stress rises, misunderstandings happen faster than anyone expects. Imagine this. It's Christmas Eve. You've just finished decorating the tree. Cookies are cooling, the fire crackles, music plays softly in the background. And then a knock. A police officer. No warrant. No immediate emergency. Just a concern from a neighbor who noticed your gun collection in the driveway last week. Suddenly, the serenity of the season is replaced with tension, uncertainty, and fear. Why does this matter? Because during the holidays, law-abiding gun owners are more vulnerable than ever to encounters with law enforcement. Not because they've done anything wrong, but because the combination of higher calls, holiday stress, and public concern creates a perfect storm. And the scariest part? Most homeowners don't realize the Supreme Court already drew a line to protect them. A line most people cross unknowingly when fear and uncertainty take over. Every knock, every inquiry, every question at your door carries stakes. One wrong step, a word too many, a hesitant gesture, can escalate a situation unnecessarily. But here's the key: knowledge is power. Knowing the boundaries set by the Supreme Court allows you to remain calm, assertive, and legally protected. Let's consider another scenario. A family gathers for Christmas dinner. Laughter echoes through the home. Suddenly, a welfare check is initiated by an anonymous call reporting suspicious firearms activity. 2 officers arrive. They ask questions politely but insist on checking inside. The homeowner, aware of Coniglia versus Strom, calmly explains that entry is not allowed without a warrant or exigent circumstances. The officers pause. Tension hangs in the air. That pause, that hesitation, can prevent a holiday celebration from turning into a legal nightmare. It's not just about gun owners. Any homeowner can find themselves in this situation during the holidays. Noise complaints, domestic concerns, welfare checks, all can trigger a police visit. And without proper knowledge, fear and instinct might push someone to make a decision that compromises their rights. And this is why December, this very holiday season, is when understanding your rights is more than important. It's potentially life-saving. In the next section, we'll break down exactly what law-abiding gun owners should do step by step when the knock comes, including practical advice that can protect your home, your family, and your constitutional rights. Because while the law gives you power, knowledge ensures you use that power wisely. Chapter 6. Step by step what gun owners should do. So, the knock has come. The door stands between safety and uncertainty. Your heart races. The air is thick with tension. What do? This is the moment where knowledge becomes your most powerful ally. Here's a step-by-step guide that can protect your home, your family, and your constitutional rights, especially during the holiday season. Step 1. Stay calm. T may sound simple, but the first rule in any unexpected encounter is to control your fear. Panic is what turns a simple visit into a legal confrontation. Your composure is your first line of defense. Take a deep breath. Center yourself. The officer is outside, not inside, and your rights have not been violated yet. Every word you say and every move you make from this point forward matters. Step 2. Know your rights. Police cannot enter without a warrant unless exigent circumstances apply. You do not have to consent to a search or entry. Exigent circumstances are narrow: immediate threat to life, crime in progress, or fire. Remember, a claim by the officer alone, "I'm worried about your safety," does not override the Constitution. This is the Supreme Court line that protects you. Step 3. Communicate calmly, clearly, and respectfully. Say something like, "Officer, I understand your concern, but I cannot allow entry without a warrant or exigent circumstances." Keep your voice steady. Avoid arguing, shouting, or threatening. Tension is high, but calm words diffuse potential escalation. Your tone, your words, and your composure can prevent a holiday celebration from turning into a legal nightmare. Step 4. Document if possible. If you feel safe, record the interaction with your phone or a security camera. Keep all firearm permits, licenses, and documentation easily accessible. This isn't about confrontation. It's about protecting yourself if questions arise later. Step 5. Know when to comply, legally. If the officer shows a valid warrant, follow the instructions calmly. If there's an immediate threat to life, cooperate to ensure safety. Otherwise, standing firm within your legal rights is protected by the Supreme Court. This step-by-step approach turns fear into control. It gives you power in the moment, the power to protect your home, your family, and your rights, without breaking the law. Let's revisit a scenario. Christmas Eve. The tree glows, cookies cool, laughter fills the room. A knock comes. The homeowner, armed with knowledge, calmly states, Officer, without a warrant or immediate emergency, I cannot allow entry. The officer pauses. The tension hangs, thick as the winter air. And then, the officer steps back, recognizing the boundary. Peace is restored. The family can celebrate, protected by knowledge, not luck. And this is why understanding your rights is more than legal theory. It's practical protection for the holidays, when tempers, stress, and unexpected calls can escalate situations faster than you think. Finally, share this knowledge. Talk to your friends, your family, anyone who might face this scenario. The more people understand these rules, the safer your community will be this holiday season. The Supreme Court drew the line, but enforcement varies. Local ordinances, red flag laws, and wellness check policies are constantly being tested across the country. As we enter December 2025, these rules are more relevant than ever. So, stay informed, stay alert, protect your family, and remember, one knock, one wrong decision can change everything this holiday season. Subscribe for more updates on your rights. Like and share this video, because knowing this hidden rule could protect your home, your family, and your freedom this Christmas.